How's everyone doing today? Good. I know summers are always a little bit harder to get people, but I'm so glad that you guys are here today. Thank you guys. So, yes.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
She's diabetic. It's just her monitor.
Oh, it's okay. I was just hoping that nothing was wrong. We're okay. All right. You're good. You're good. All right. I haven't started yet. We're good. So today, it is July. And yes, so those of you guys that didn't hear, I'm getting married in 11 days, which is crazy to me. So I have been very stressed out. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And for any of you that have gotten married, you probably understand that there's a lot that happens involved in a marriage and involved in a wedding. But I really wanted to be committed to Profits and Pints, and I wanted to be here today. And so I am here because I started doing this a year and a half ago, actually, is what it's been. And it's been awesome so far. And I love doing this, and I love supporting this. And I'm really excited about the topic today. The topic that I'm doing today is actually something that I do with every single one of my clients. So all my one-on-one clients, all of my group clients, I do it with every single one of them because I feel like it is so important. And it's called the decision filter. At least this is what I call it. It's not the official title, but it is what I call it. And you'll find out more about what the official title of it is. And it's really how business owners can be confident in their decisions on what to say yes to, but more importantly, what to say no to. Because business owners, most of them, have a lot of ideas, right? They don't normally have an opportunity problem. There's not normally like, oh man, I don't really know what to do today. I don't really have any ideas. That's not normally something that business owners struggle with. Does anybody have that problem? I don't have any ideas. No? Okay. I didn't think so. Normally business owners, most business owners, have too many ideas and they're flooding out of them. And sometimes they're like, well, I want to do this and I want to do this. And they want to do all of them and they want to do them all today. This is very, very common. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how do we as business owners come down to an easier way to make decisions and feel confident in those decisions that they're the right direction for us, okay? So have you ever had more ideas than time? Struggled between two good opportunities, not knowing which one maybe you should do first, and then said yes to something and later regretted it. Anybody? Any of this resonate? Yes. Hi, Kayla. So we're going to talk about the fox and the hedgehog. And I realize there's a typo. It says hedgehog. We're the hedgehog. Fox and the hedgehog. So those, there may be a few of you in here that have heard of Jim Collins. Anybody here heard of Jim Collins? Yes. Okay. So this comes from Jim Collins. And he calls it the hedgehog concept. I call it the decision filter. And the reason I call it the decision filter is because I feel like that is the use of it, is to create decisions. The story is about the fox and the hedgehog, okay? So the fox knows many things. The hedgehog knows one big thing. The story is about the fox and the hedgehog, where the fox is trying to attack the hedgehog. And every time the fox tries to attack the hedgehog rolls up into a little ball. The fox comes from behind, and it rolls up in a little ball. The fox jumps from behind a rock, and it rolls up in a ball. The fox tries to get him in the dark, and he rolls up in a ball. It doesn't matter what the fox does. He tries a million different things. And every single time, what does the hedgehog do? He rolls up in a ball. And the fox never gets him, right? The fox will continue to try every single time. He never gives up, which is probably a good thing, I guess, for him, except for he's really tired. But the hedgehog is focused on what works, and he knows it works every single time. If the hedgehog tries something different, why would he do that? It doesn't make sense. He knows what works, so he continues to stay focused on what works. And so Jim Collins calls this the hedgehog concept, and I call it your decision filter. And there's 3 different components of this, and we're going to go through them one at a time. 3 different components that help create your decision filter. The first one is, what are you passionate about as a business owner? Okay, and so as I'm asking these questions, and there is a part in your workbook if you want to jot down thoughts, and my recommendation is just jot it down, okay? Just free form jot it down as I'm asking these questions. Is really what gets you out of bed in the morning, and this is for the CEO of the company. Okay? This is the owner, the founder of the company typically, because typically the passion of the organization comes from you. You're the one who started it. You're the one that lives and breathes it, and whoever you hire, whoever you oversee, they typically will get this from you. Okay? It's why it began. And a lot of times this is not what the business does. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not what the business does. I had a client that after doing this activity, we found out that he's a plumbing company, and he absolutely loves training people. Absolutely loved it. Does that have to do with plumbing? No, it doesn't. So you want to ask yourself, what gets you out of bed in the morning? When you think of your perfect day, you get home, and maybe you're talking to your spouse or your kids or significant other, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just had the best day. And you start telling them about all the things that you did. What were you doing? What were the activities that you were doing? Were you talking to clients? Were you doing your accounting? Were you, other than Aaron, it was probably not most of you. Were you checking things off a list? Were you, figuring out a problem? Were you training people? What were the things that give you joy and passion that you do in your work? What was that? The types of things. You don't have to answer it right now. Just jot it down. I want everyone to just kind of jot those things down, right? And just kind of whatever comes to mind for you, right? What gives you energy in the work that you do? What kind of day makes you drive home thinking that was a great day? What problems do you love solving? You're like, this is the kind of problem I love solving, okay? And if money wasn't part of the equation, what would you still do? If someone outside of your organization asked you for help, and they needed help without monetary reason, would you drop and say, you know what, because they're a friend, maybe they're a friend, and you'd say, you know what, I'll help with that part. And maybe you'd do that anyways, but you'd actually enjoy doing it. Not just because they're your friend, but you actually enjoy doing that part. Okay, so just jot down a couple things of what comes to mind immediately. Normally what you would do, and we're not going to do this part right this second, is you would kind of accumulate all of these thoughts into one kind of passion statement of like, this is what I'm really passionate about. And again, it doesn't have to be the service that you provide. It's really the activity or the process of the things you enjoy doing in your business. Okay? That's the first component of the decision filter. So here's some examples. Some examples of some other businesses. Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines' passion is making air travel simple and accessible. Okay? That's something that they're passionate about. Walgreens is passionate about helping people conveniently access health and wellness. Now, for those of you that have been to a few Profits and Pints, I have Jeff. Jeff is my very common example. He owns an HVAC company, and I use him for everything. And ironically, in my BNI, which is my networking group, we actually have an HVAC company now, which is really funny. And he has not come to a Profits and Pints yet, but I'm really excited for when he does and tell him that he's like basically my example for everything. So Jeff is a HVAC company. And so I use him for everything. So of course I'm going to use Jeff for the example for today. And so Jeff's example is he is passionate for developing people and creating careers in tech trades that people are proud of. Okay, so that's what Jeff, my fictitious Jeff, is passionate about. So those are just some examples of the passion statements that were created by these companies. The next circle is best at, or better known as best in the world at. It can be confined to a region. In order to answer this, the best way to do this, it's not the only way, but the best way to do this is to look at your last, I say 100 Google reviews. You may not have 100 Google's reviews. It's okay. I don't judge you. But your last Google reviews, or maybe what people have told you, and what do they say? What are your customers consistently saying about you? What makes you different than your competitors? What makes you stand out? And what can make you best in the world or best in your region? And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and give you some examples before you write anything down, because I think this will help. So for Southwest Airlines, and a lot of times it's really helpful to have 3 things. 3 just kind of bulleted things. It doesn't have to be this, but it is really helpful to have this. And it doesn't mean that you're the best at all 3, but it's the combination of the 3 that you're the best at. So for Southwest, if you think of all the other airlines, Southwest is best at being simple, reliable, and low cost. For those of you that have flown Southwest, would you agree? The combination of those 3? Maybe 20 years ago, okay? Things have changed, okay? That is at least what they're trying to be, okay? And I will say that Southwest is that for their ideal customer. They are not that for not their ideal customer. I will say that as well. Walgreens. Walgreens is wanting to be best in the world at convenient, accessible, and easy. Now we'll talk about this here in the next section, but I'm going to mention it, is that one of the things that Walgreens does is that, or has done in the past, I don't know if they still do it, is that they are focused on only opening stores on corner lots. So for a period of time when they made this decision to be, really when they were developing their hedgehog concept and their decision filter, is they wanted to be only on corner lots. And so they actually would spend money to close down any store that wasn't on a corner lot and to open a store that was maybe a block away on a corner lot, because it would actually increase revenue long term, even though it would be a big investment initially. And part of that was this convenient, accessible, and easy, because there would be 2 entry points on a corner lot. A lot of money up front, but it was worth it in the end. Okay, Jeff. So now we have Jeff, the HVAC guy. So his best in the world is proactive, transparent, and dependable. Okay, so that's his best in the world for HVAC. Okay, so just think about what yours could be. Again, just maybe take a little bit of notes on you don't have to refine it right now, but just what differentiates you from your competitors and what could you be best in the world at. I'm going to give you one more example, because it doesn't always have to be these 3 bullets. My dad owned a calibration company. Okay, for those of you that don't know, I'm not going to explain all of calibration, but it's in like a high compliance industry. They made sure equipment was working properly. Okay, they put stickers on it and said, yes, this is working properly. That's essentially what it was. But in that industry, there was a lot of equipment that got sent to labs, and they focused on on-site calibration. There was also a lot of equipment that had to be accredited, like that it was an accredited calibration essentially. And they only did accredited calibration, and they didn't do non-accredited calibration. And so their best in the world at was on-site accredited calibration, right? And so they really honed in on who their ideal client was and the type of services that they're doing. So that's something that could be part of your best in the world at, is maybe like, what geographical region are you focusing on? Who's your ideal client? What type of services are you working on? So you can think in that, not necessarily how you're servicing your customers, but who are you servicing as well. So you can really hone in that direction as well. And I realize now that there's not any examples like that, but that is one way that you can kind of hone that in as well, right? How are you serving them, but who are you serving as well? Okay, so that's another way that you can do that. Okay. Third one, and my favorite one, and the most complicated, okay? So the third one is profit per X. It is the most important one, in my opinion, because it is your economic driver. It is how you drive revenue into your business, or more importantly, drive profit into your business. This single decision could dictate how your company will look in the future, okay? It's a little bit of a bold statement, but it's true. So this number, if this number improved, you want to know, will your business become healthier, and what will it look like? I'm going to give you some examples, and we're going to actually do an activity for this one to help you understand what it truly means, okay? So here's some examples. Southwest Airlines said profit per airplane or flight, okay? So let me explain this. When you look at Southwest Airlines, they determined that most airlines were able to get their airplanes in the air for 3 flights per day on average, okay? Meaning the flight or the airplane went up and back down 3 times in a day on average throughout all the airplanes, right? And they said, we're going to do 4. We're going to get that big hunk of metal up in the air 4 times. How are we going to do it? With checklists, with speed, with hoarding everyone on the plane like cows, right? That's what we're going to do. And you know why? Because that airplane is so expensive to fuel, to maintain, to staff. Everything is so expensive, and so the more we can get it in the plane, the more income we get for those flights, the more profit we get, right? So they realize that's how they're going to be a more profitable company. And they did it. And I think even to this day, though they've changed some things, but for a long time, they were the most profitable airline in the world by 3 times. 3 times, guys. Insane. All because they got the airplane up 4 times. That's the decision that they made that did that. And every decision that they made operationally was behind that decision. Walgreens, profit per customer visit. If you think about it, every time a customer comes in, first of all, they needed more customers to come in, right? So the decision that I talked about earlier where they decided to go on corner lots, that was part of that decision. But then when they came in, everything that they decided about placement, where things are at, how to increase the purchases that they had when they walked in, every single decision that they made was to increase profit per customer visit. At a restaurant, profit per table. The more tables you have, the more profit. Okay? Any SaaS companies or things, it'd be like profit per subscriber, right? More subscribers you have, if you can have add-ons or maybe you can have upgrades or things like that, right? So it would make sense to do profit per subscriber, things like that. So think about in your business what your profit per would be. Now, I also want to talk about Jeff. Because sometimes you have a decision to make and there isn't a wrong answer. In fact, you could go either direction. So for Jeff, we narrowed it down to 2 possible solutions. We have profit per project, okay? Remember, he's HVAC, profit per project, or profit per maintenance customer, right? So he could focus on big HVAC projects, or he could focus on maintenance retainer customers, right? Who here thinks that he should do profit per project? Based on what you know about Jeff, which is nothing. Anybody? Who here thinks he should do profit per maintenance customer? Okay, profit per maintenance customer is somewhat winning. So it's very undetermined right now, which is fine because you don't know anything about him, which is great. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. And I just want to make it clear, he could go either direction, honestly, right? Because it depends on what model he wants, right? They're both just different business models. So for the profit per project, the decisions that he would make as a business are things like pursuing larger commercial installations. So what if he wanted to start doing like RFPs and go after like government contracts or big commercial projects, right? He could do that. He could totally do that. What if he has a huge background in that? What if he wants to do that? I don't know. He might have an in with that. I've done them before and they're a pain in the ass, but you know, you never know. He could focus on the one-time higher value jobs, invest in estimating and project management, get really good at that, right? These are the decisions that he would make that would back that up. And prioritize the larger contracts, Those are the types of decisions that he would make if that was his profit per X. On the other hand, if it was profit per maintenance customers, he would make decisions like growing recurring maintenance agreements, building long-term relationships, increasing customer retention, and creating predictable recurring revenue. Do you see how those are completely different businesses? It's the same service, but they're completely different businesses. Do you also see how an opportunity might come right in front of him and how having this decided would help him make that decision? So they're different paths, right? Different businesses, but neither is wrong. Jeff chose profit per maintenance customer. And if you've been in a previous one, I have talked about this before, where he wants maintenance contracts, or maintenance customers, okay? So this is what he has chosen, and most of you are right, so this is great. I'm very proud of you. So now we come to the decision filter. We've done all three of these. So now when we look at it all together, we have his passion. Jeff is passionate for developing people and creating careers in the trades that people are proud of. Okay? He is best in the world at proactive, transparent, and dependable for his customers. And his profit per X is profit per maintenance customer. So to kind of put it in a strategy or a statement, his decision filter has become to develop exceptional technicians who become the most trusted long-term HVAC partners for property managers by delivering a proactive, transparent, and dependable experience. Do you see how that kind of just accumulates all three of those things together? That becomes his decision filter. And every opportunity that he gets should be moved through that to make sure that it fits all three components. So, this is where it comes to you guys. Oh, sorry, one more slide. So once you have this, everything gets easier. Hiring, you start to hire the right people. If the people that you're trying to hire can't uphold those values, if they don't believe in those values, or they don't, maybe it's someone that just wants to do RFPs, right? Or maybe it's someone who doesn't want to train anyone. They're like, I'm not interested in training anyone. That's going to be hard for them, right? They're not going to fit the culture. That's really important. And so you now know the type of people that you're looking to hire. Marketing, you now know who you need who do you need to market to. Are you marketing for big companies that want a one-time contract? No. You want long-term, repeatable. You want property managers, right? You want those companies that need recurring maintenance, right? Customers, right? I mean, it's the same thing, right? You're marketing to the customers. So I kind of just said that. And then the new services, right? If you're offering new services, are you going to offer a new service that's a one-time service, or are you going to offer a new service that is appropriate for the recurring clients, right? So if you have a new idea, okay, Jeff has a new idea, you can put it through the filter and decide if it fits. So, don't say it out loud. I want everyone to think about this. Which opportunities fit Jeff's business? Number one, it's kind of small, sorry. Number one, start bidding on large municipal HVAC replacement projects through the city and county RFPs. 2, begin using subcontracted HVAC technicians during busy seasons instead of continuing to develop in-house technicians. Number 3, purchase a nearby HVAC company whose business is primarily recurring maintenance contracts with property managers. Or 4, join a local homeowners marketing network to generate more one-time residential service calls. Put the number up. Everyone agrees, it's 3, right? If he had all of these opportunities in front of him, it's 3. It makes it so much easier. Okay? There we go. Look at that. You got it right. I'm so proud. Okay? It becomes easy, right? So if I had asked you guys this at the very beginning, before we did any of these activities, you wouldn't have known. Jeff wouldn't have known. So the idea here is to build your decision filter. And I want you to take just a second, and specifically I want you to work on your profit per X. just take a minute, and I want to know if there's any questions about this. You can be specific if you have questions. If you're like, I don't know what mine is, ask. Let's talk about it. If you're okay sharing it, let's talk about it. I want to help. I'm going to help just a couple people if you want, because I think your questions will help others. Anybody? Yeah.
So I ended up choosing the profit per project.
Okay.
On mine.
Tell me more.
So one of the big things I do is payrolls.
Okay.
All right. And I run about 25 to 30 minutes per payroll.
Okay.
Whether I'm doing payroll for one person.
Okay.
Or I'm doing payroll for 20 people.
All right.
It's about the same. And my business model for my personal business is a set fee per payroll cycle plus number of employees.
Okay. Makes sense.
So the more employees I can do in that short time period, the better my profit margin is.
So maybe instead of, because you can go deeper, right? Maybe instead of profit per project, it's profit per payroll employee?
Per payroll customer, yeah.
Is it the customer though, or is it the employee of the customer? Or, oh, I see what you're saying, though. Maybe it is the customer.
It would be the customer, because if I can, do payroll for a customer with 10 employees in that half hour,
Yep.
okay, that's, call it $80.
Right.
All right. If that same half hour I do a customer that has 2 employees,
Got it.
That's $50, or $40. So
you make more money if they have
more.
less employees, honestly.
No, I make less money if they have less employees.
Oh, right, because they're not paying as much. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought of that backwards. Okay.
For the same time block.
Okay, so let me think about this. Because it's not profit per customer, because you have to equate for the number of employees that are on there. And so I almost feel like there's a combination number here. And sometimes you can be like kind of like the customer visit, right? That's kind of a combo. It's because it's equating for the customer visiting and how much they're spending, right? And so I almost feel like, and I don't know what the exact number is, and you might want to play with this a little bit, but is there a metric that you can come up with that accounts for the customer and how many employees they have, right?
So at this point, my metric is $35 for payroll cycle. And plus $5 per employee there.
Yeah. I think it's profit per employee, because if you think about it, the profit part of that is equating, I don't know if that's the right word, is putting into account how much you're making on the whole transaction, the profit part of that, right? Or revenue, right? So it's revenue per. So you would look at if you make the total amount you'd make for the whole customer, and then the total amount for number of employees, essentially, right? And then divide that by per customer, right? So how much are you charging per customer? Sorry, as you took a bite.
So per payroll cycle is $35. And then $5 for every employee on top of that.
35 or $5. Okay. So on average, let's say, depending on how many employees, it could be $7 per employee. It could be $10 employee. The idea is you want that to be higher, right? So I would track it per employee.
I'm going to offer there's one more layer.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is, he said payroll cycle.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so frequency.
some people
Oh,
get
so it
paid
depends
once
on
a
how
month,
much.
And some people get paid every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
So you actually
time.
have to calculate that as your base number is the iterants times customer times employee
So
equals your
employee per.
That means your end result number.
So profit per employee per pay cycle.
Yeah, so
Because
that's why I think
do have
project
both-
is
both
right, because
extremes.
it becomes project.
Yeah.
So that
I
is kind of a
do
project.
have a couple customers that are weekly.
Uh
And
huh.
I have one that is quarterly.
Yeah.
So you really want to ditch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find more hourly employees.
So see how it takes a little bit of work sometimes to figure this out, but I'm telling you, once you figure this out, it can change a lot of things, right? Because then what I end up doing with my clients is we end up looking at like, okay, now that we know the number, now that we know what we need, we're now tracking, okay, if it's let's just say per customer, right? Just to keep it simple. Now we're tracking, okay, how many customers do we have? What's our revenue per customer? And how is it growing, right? If that's what the number is. And that's a really simple example, right? Or how many projects do we have and what's our project per customer? And if it's per customer, what's the breakdown of per customer? What's our low paying customers? What's our low paying jobs? Which ones shouldn't we be doing? Which ones do we need more of, right? If it's customers, which ones shouldn't we have? Which ones should we have, right? If it's stores, Walgreens stores, which ones should we have? Which ones shouldn't we have, right? You start to really understand the numbers and say, what is giving us profit? And we need more of those. What is not giving us profit? We need less of those. This is what I'm telling you when I say this profit per X number is very powerful. It is my favorite part of all of this. The passion is important. The best in the world is also very important. But this profit per X number can change your business. Okay? Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else struggling? And if you want to talk one-on-one after this, I'm here. Okay? All right. I'm going to keep going. We already did that. Okay. So every time you say yes to the wrong opportunity, you are saying no to the right one. Okay? And I want you to think about this for a second. When you say yes to the wrong opportunity, you don't get the time back. You're spending that time on the wrong opportunity. You don't get that time back. Right? And so if you really get this right, if you really spend the time and invest the time to get this right, you now can have that time on the right opportunities. You will get further with the right opportunities than with the wrong ones. Okay. That is it for that. Any questions on that part? We're good? Yes?
Is it like for every company, is it the same whether you're trying to maintain current, like, for example, would you keep those clients and just try to focus on either one or the other? Like either grabbing, because we made that like binary decision.
Mm-hmm. Like you're saying like for your profit per and tracking.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
you know that.
It depends on what you're trying to do. So like, for example, I have a client right now that it's profit per client for sure. And we've identified that about 40% of their clients are the wrong clients by a long shot. But we're not going to just ditch the clients, right? And so we have a process where we're trying to get more of the right clients, right? And what we ended up doing is we're raising the prices on the wrong clients, essentially, is what we're doing. We're raising the minimum pricing. And so if they stay, well, the profit's going up. And so the profit's going up on those minimum clients. We're only marketing to the other clients. We're only accepting the higher profit clients. And so eventually it will even out. It's kind of our strategy, right? Because that's what they wanted to do. It depends on the company on what they want to do. That's one strategy. Mm-hmm. You could just dump them.
Yeah, at the time you're spending on them and they're lower paying.
Yeah.
Time, money.
Yeah.
Higher paying, like that seems when you get the
100%. And I think that's part of it too, is that you have to make that decision. Actually, I'll give you a real world example that's very similar to this, is the Nerd Stuff. So the IT company, my brother and my cousin own this. When we bought that company, it was a residential repair store. And we intentionally bought that store with the intention of converting it to an MSP, a managed service provider. We did that on purpose. And we knew at some point we were going to drop the residential services. We didn't know when, but we knew that at some point. But we had to grow the MSP services to enough revenue to support the staff before that we stopped doing those services. But the admin that it required, right, of the walk-ins and the, hey, can you help me check my emails and things like that, was a lot, right? And so we had to gauge when it was time. And it was hard. It was hard to let go until we finally were like, we just got to pull the plug. We just had to do it. And so we did it just this last, it was like November. We finally just pulled the plug on it. And it was the best thing that they ever did because they had so much time left, more time than they even realized that they had. And so you have to kind of gauge that a little bit too, right? So there's definitely an aspect of that can be hard to let go of because you think you know how much time, but you don't really know. And it could be less, it could be more, but you can try your best to understand how much time that really is. The best thing is if you're actually time tracking this stuff, but most people don't actually do it accurately, unfortunately. So it's a good question, though. Really good question. Yeah. But there's a shift that typically has to be made when you identify with those low profit clients. It's hard. It's hard, especially if you're letting go of a whole service, right? Yeah. Good question. Okay. So we're going to do a giveaway. So for those of you that don't know, I do a 4-hour workshop called Purpose to Priorities Workshop. And I actually just have another one scheduled in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. There you go. So you got it. It is a group workshop. So it's a group workshop. It's includes basically a strategy plan. So we actually do go over your decision filter during this, so we'll hone in on it for you. But we also include accountability charts. So we create an accountability chart with you. Power of One, we go over Power of One cash flow, which is looking at what your cash flow looks like in your business, how cash runs through your business. And it's maxed at 7 people. So I go maxed at 7 people in this group. It's really, really good. It's 4 hours, 4-hour workshop, and I'm going to give 1 seat away for free today. So we're going to do that, and we're good to go, Catalina? Yes. For those of you that weren't here last month, we made a spinner. So we're doing spinners now. We're in the new age, guys. We're no longer doing tickets. And it worked last month, so we'll see if it works this month, okay? All right, you guys ready? Drum roll, please. Yeah? Okay, we'll make it fun. Oh, just kidding. Okay. I think I have to click in the middle. Hold on. And the winner is someone, please. Oh my gosh, I did this last time. Sky left us. She left us with this. What are you going to do, huh? She even sent us like a video on how to do it, guys.
And I did everything in the video. So okay. It was good now. If it let me present to make it bigger.
There you go.
Okay.
See it.
Announce.
Josh Fauché! Woo! All right, Josh, we'll reach out and let you know when we get started, okay? Okay, thanks, guys.